Hi, so I'm Xiao from Nervos Foundation. I'm a co-developer Nervos. So this is about our attempt at bridging the two different blockchain models, the UTXO model and the account model. So first thing is that I can believe that we all love Ethereum, but Ethereum as it's growing has been showing ages, and there are some problems, some real problems. The first one is Ethereum has this unlimited storage problem. As long as someone pays for the gas for their contracts, they can store whatever they want on Ethereum. They can store how much they want on Ethereum. It means that if we're running an Ethereum node, most of the data stored there doesn't really belong to you and is useless to you. And when the time grows, when this data becomes useless, there's no real incentive to purge those data. So the tragedy of common thing on Ethereum is real. The second thing is that in Ethereum, upgrading EVM is super hard. Suppose you have a feature that can benefit your application in some way that you have to really have a hard time persuading them to the Ethereum official team. And when they even agreed about this feature, it could still take them months or years to implement this thing in their next upgrades. So actually, on side topic, we are at Nervos Foundation. We're developing the next generation layer 1 blockchain called the Nervos CKB. We're developing a permissionless proof of work new blockchain that we believe has some interesting properties here. Well, there are many novelties in Nervos CKB. There are two things that's relevant to today's talk. The first thing is that we derive from Bitcoin's UTXO model into something called the cell model. The cell model has some interesting property allowing new use cases. The second thing is that we're basing our virtual machine on the blockchain using the open source RISC-V instruction set. The combination of cell model and RISC-V virtual machine, we believe, can enable a lot of new use cases. One of the use cases is this new project called Polyjuice. It's actually we're aiming to build a 95% or even more percent compatibility alternative Ethereum implementation. So this is not a prototype. Our target is real developers building Ethereum applications. They may run into Ethereum's limitation, but still want to evolve their application without rewriting the whole thing on Ethereum 2.0. And the thing is, your current existing Solidity code and your current Ethereum tools are expected to still work on our node. The second thing is that this is not a new blockchain. This is just a D app running on our Nervos CKB blockchain, showcasing our flexibility. We're still in early stages, but we're hoping that we can bring a full Ethereum alternative implementation here. One interesting property here is that in Nervos CKB, we introduced an economic model that everyone will have to pay for their storage. That means if you're running your Ethereum application on our node, when you're creating a new contract, you have to really pay for the storage to store this contract. When someone is interacting with our applications, and if their change incurs new storage on your contract, they have to really pay for this. This means on our blockchain, everyone will fundamentally have to pay for their storage. And when their data is irrelevant, there will be a real incentive for them to purge this data, otherwise their tokens will get devalued. This way, we're hoping that all the data on the chain can be relevant and restricted to a reasonable size. The other thing is that with this DApp solution for Ethereum, you can actually upgrade your EVM. If you saw a new feature that can benefit your DApp, you can implement that by your own, and once you deploy this node, you'll be able to run Ethereum with the new added feature. We're hoping this can enable a whole new generation of Ethereum DApps. So if you're interested, feel free to check out our app or play with it and let us know how you think. Thank you.